right, so now that you've been able to get into your skein successfully and it won't knot on you, and you have a yarn bowl if you're using one, let's talk about starting. Super, super simple. So I'm going to put this down a little bit so you can see the yarn very clearly. So you're going to work from your end, and what you want to do is just create a loop. And this would be adjustable, so it will get smaller or larger if you pull on it. And you're going to insert your hook through that loop. The very first thing that you'll see in any pattern that you try to use is going to be a chain. So in this case, I'm going to start a very simple project with you. Now here's my confession, guys. I've done some pretty detailed projects. I've done some bigger blankets and pillows and one sweater, which I don't necessarily recommend when you're first starting out. But my very favorite projects are these little trinkets, things that are quick and easy, but they're beautiful. They make great gifts. I've done things like a snowflake table runner for my sister, which is beautiful and she doesn't have yet, so I won't show that off just yet. But little coasters, and this project I just found is a headband, and so you can adjust the size for a baby or an older girl, which I did one of each, and I just found it to be so super sweet. So you actually create the band, and then you create little hearts, or you could do flowers or whatever you prefer. And for this one, we'll do hearts, and you affix them onto it. It's super simple, really cute, and it's homemade and it's heartfelt, and people love these little gifts, and they're super quick to put out. So this is what we're going to start with. Okay, ready to go. So I'm going to start with a chain of 33. This does not include your starting loop. To make a chain, you're simply going to take and yarn over and then pull through. That's 1. Yarn over, pull through, that's 2. Yarn over, pull through, that's 3. You're going to continue for a chain of 33. 31, 32, 33. So you've got a single hook on the end. You're going to theoretically turn, although in this case you don't really have to do a whole lot of turning. And we're going to do what's called a slip stitch, which is the simplest stitch but not the most effective in most cases, but it's going to create this lovely band for this. So you're going to slip stitch back starting in your second hook. So you're going to count back. That's 1, 2, and you'll insert the hook through the loop, pull through, and pull through. So you've got just 1 on, go to the next, insert, pull through, to the next, and you're just going to continue down the chain, pulling through both loops to create this chain. This is 30, 31, and 32. And as you slip stitch that 32nd, first of all, you'll note that there's going to be 1 less stitch. The reason for that is because you started on the second loop. And also take note that anything that you're creating that needs ties on the end, this is a great way to make a nice strong tie. It's not going to break, it's not going to fall apart, and in a worst case scenario, if you needed to create ties and you already had a project, you could either adjoin it or you could simply create this chain and then tie it on. So the next piece of this is that we are going to chain 4. So you know how to do a chain, you just yarn over and pull through, that's 2, 3, 4. And to create a ring, we're going to slip stitch back into the hole where we started. So through and through, okay? Now you have this little loop. So that's going to be where we work from. You'll see that this might slip or pull a little bit here. It's okay, you can tighten it up, and that's where you'll end up tying it off when you're finishing the project, no problem. So we're going to turn this. Now we're going to be working in what are called double crochets for the most part. A double crochet means that it's the height of 2 stitches. It's very simple to do, but the very first thing you need to do is create your height, and we're going to do that by chaining. So you're going to chain 1, 2, and 3. So that's going to create your height. Now we're going to double crochet, and we're going to do this right into the loop that we created. To double crochet, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook through the loop, draw up, and you're going to come through the first 2, which leaves 2 on, and then you're going to come through those 2. So now you're back to 1, and you've got this double crochet right here. We're going to do that 2 more times. Through the loop, draw up, through the first 2, through the second 2, 1 on, yarn over, through the hoop, draw up, through the first 2. Oops, okay. So anytime you miss a stitch or your yarn separates, you can simply go back to your last loop and pull on your working end, and it's going to undo that. So we're just going to start it over. We're going to yarn over, go through the loop, draw up, through the first 2, and then through the second 2. There we go. Now for this pattern, we're now going to chain 2, and then we're going to do 4 more double crochets right into that same loop. Skipping forward, here's number 4. Once you've created that, you've created your first chain. Okay, we're going to turn the work, and we're going to chain 3, again creating the height for those double crochets. And again, we're going to work right into our loop. You're going to do 3, you're going to chain 2, that'll create your loop for the next one, another 3, now in this case, instead of doing 4 in the initial hoop, we're then going to come back to the end of our first chain 3 where we started our first line, and we're going to do a double crochet into the 3rd stitch of that. Okay, so now we have 2, 1, 2. We're going to turn, chain 3. Let's do it again. 3 into the loop. Chain 2, another 3 into the loop, and then 1 into the last of the chain 3 from where you started. Okay, now we have 1, 2, 3. We're going to turn and do it again. You're going to continue this until you reach the length that you want it to be. So I made one of these for my 10-year-old, and I made one for my 6-month-old, not even quite 6 months. And what I did was just created these until I thought it was about the right length, tried it around their heads. The pattern that I first saw that I'm working off of kind of said to do 32. I found that to be way too long for either of them. So as we get toward the end here, I think I will give you a count, but I believe it was probably a dozen of them for my 6-month-old and probably 20-ish for the 10-year-old, but you can make it adjustable for whoever you need to. So we're going to continue this until it's at the length that you want it to be for whoever you're making it for.